Hello and welcome back, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 best characters of 2024. And in this year we've only had two shows, Daryl Dixon Season 2 and The Ones Who Live, but we've had many great characters and many bad characters. So today I want to celebrate 2024 with the top 10 best characters of this year. So let's jump right into this with number 10, and I'm going to have to give this to Nat. I really liked Nat. I thought he would be a nothing character. He's a one-off character in The Ones Who Live episode 2, but he is really well written, really fleshed out. I really like his growing friendship with Michonne. He is crucial to the story of making sure Michonne finds Rick. I really enjoy him. I'm just sad he died. He could have been a really cool character to pop back up in episode 6, but no, he was killed off. So number 10 for him. Number 9 is Okafor from episode 1 of The Ones Who Live, and this character is definitely my favourite one-off character in years. I really enjoy Okafor. His dynamic with Rick Grimes is amazing. I really like his mentorship of Rick, but I also really like how he is a character that gives us a lot of backstory to Operation Cobalt, the CRM, what happened to a lot of the army. He gives us all that in just 40 minutes. He's a really interesting character, and he has one of the most brutal deaths in the Walking Dead universe, being hit by a missile and then blowing up. But he is absolutely amazing. It's a shame again he is also only in one episode, but that one episode he is in, he really makes it his own. And for number 8 for me, I might have to say Falu. I think he's a really interesting character, and personally I thought he was just okay in season 1, but season 2, it may be because he's one of the only characters to survive season 2, one of the French characters, but because he survives, a lot of the other characters get killed off. And it really leaves a lot of time for Falu to get a lot more screen time and to develop as a character. Falu is one of those standout characters of Daryl Dixon Season 2, which is quite shocking because a lot of characters really sucked in the second season in my opinion. And I really do like how Falu got a happy ending. He's one of the only characters to get a nice happy ending in Daryl Dixon. Everyone else just gets miserable endings or just vanishes. But Falu to have a nice happy ending really makes me happy that that character was able to stay around, because I really was thinking he's going to die. But we got a nice happy ending, which is very rare in The Walking Dead, so he definitely deserves, in my opinion, to be on this list. Next, for number 7, I would give it to Laurent. I think Laurent is a very interesting character, and I really enjoyed him in Season 2. I think Season 1 he was good. Season 2, they gave Laurent a lot more to do. They really pushed into the interesting aspect of Laurent being this messiah, and he's the second coming, he's going to bring everyone to the promised land. I really thought that storyline was really cool, and Laurent as a character was really interesting. I like that his development with Daryl and that relationship did work a lot better. Season 1, I thought it was just very undercooked. Season 2, it started undercooked, but it really did, by the end of the season, feel like they actually did care about each other. He's a really interesting character, and I couldn't talk about my favourite characters without mentioning Laurent, I think. And on number 6 for me, I'm going to have to say Daryl. He is really good in Daryl Dixon Season 2. I definitely think up until a point. There's one episode which really annoys me, and that's episode 4. I think they ruined Daryl, and it feels like they're reverting him back to the Walking Dead Daryl. But outside of that one episode where he reunites with Carol, Daryl develops in such interesting ways, and he has a really interesting story, even though it is ruined at parts, so I can't be like, oh, he's my favourite character of 2024, but he has a lot of great scenes. I really like his relationship with Laurent. His relationship with Isabel gets really good. It's a shame it's ruined. He just really carries a lot of Season 2 because of the character development and Norman Reedus' performance, so I feel like he deserves a mention, and I put him kind of in the middle personally. And number 5 is Jadis from The Ones Who Live. And it's really insane that Jadis went from being one of my most hated characters in the Walking Dead universe to eventually becoming one of my most beloved, just because of how well she's acted by Pauline McIntosh. Also, the storyline they gave her in World Beyond and The Ones Who Live is really interesting. She's a really good villain for Rick, and because The Ones Who Live wasn't meant to be this big CRM story, it's a very personal love story. I really like how they were like, okay, we're going to have the main villain basically be Jadis. It really works for the story, and she's really fleshed out. She is not just this villain for villain's sake. She's a character that really just wants to matter and wants to have a purpose, and a lot of that time, it just falls into being the wrong person at the wrong time. And I really like how in this show, she's only in 3 to 4 episodes, but they really do a lot with her, like especially in episode 5 where they give her flashbacks to Gabriel where she bees Anna again, and right at the end, just before she dies, she turns back into Anna to help Rick. She's a really interesting character, and I think definitely deserves a mention in 2024's top 10 best characters. Number 4 is Caudron, and he is really only in 3 episodes of Daryl Dixon season 2. But those last 3, they really do so much for Caudron. He goes from being a villain to being this really good anti-hero. They give him a great redemption arc. I really like him and Daryl finally burying the hatchet. And his storyline in season 2 is really good right up until the very end when they ruin it in the tunnels. So hopefully we see Caudron in season 3, but I really doubt it. But in 2024, out of all the Daryl Dixon characters, from all the characters from season 1, he's really the only character that wasn't screwed over by season 2 in some sort of way. Number 3 is Lu Sang, and he is a standout character in Daryl Dixon, and definitely one of my favourite villains in a really long time in the Walking Dead universe. It was a shocker for him to just become this sudden villain, but it really worked, and it's really enjoyable. I really like how they're like, okay, we're going to go deep into this Isla-Ron, the Second Coming, and all this religious aspects of Daryl Dixon, and then they show how faith can be good and all, like in season 1, but in season 2, it can also be really bad, and you can get these really zealous, almost culty communities going on. He's a really great villain for Daryl, and he's definitely the best part of season 2 in my opinion. And number 2 is Michonne. She absolutely stole The Ones Who Live in certain scenes, and she definitely deserves to be number 2 on this list. The only thing that's keeping her from number 1 is definitely that Michonne was given one too many cringy lines in The Ones Who Live, like "Love Never Dies." They really did ham it up at times with Michonne, I feel like. Her storyline of going to find Rick, really great. She's a really emotional storyline across the 6 episodes. And I really enjoy him. I think her episode 2, is a stronger opening episode than episode 1. So I don't think episode 2 should have been episode 1. And Michonne really does a lot. She's really the reason Rick makes it home. And she definitely deserves a mention. She brought Rick home. No one else could. Rick couldn't even bring himself home. But once Michonne got into the picture, she saved Rick. And definitely, inadvertently, ended up saving the entire world. And number 1 is Rick Grimes. Like, come on, it's Rick Grimes. There's obviously some heavy bias going into this. Any season that Rick Grimes is in obviously gets giant buffs. And now we have Rick's final performance, Andrew Lincoln having his final performance as Rick. His final storyline is phenomenal. I definitely do really enjoy Rick. And the only reason he's above Michonne is because I feel like Rick doesn't get any really hammy or very corny lines in The Ones Who Live. Like, they gave a lot of those lines to Michonne, and it just, even though it was delivered the best the actor could, it still kind of came off fine, like "Love Never Dies," as I mentioned. But they never gave any of those weird lines to Rick. Rick was great from start to finish. He has a really emotional storyline, and Rick goes from some really dark places. I really enjoy Rick in all 6 episodes of The Ones Who Live, and he is my favourite character of this year by far. Michonne is close, but every other character do not pale in comparison to Rick. Absolutely phenomenal. Best performance. Andrew Lincoln better win some awards for The Ones Who Live, because we get a full range of Rick going through different emotional states. We get a bit of murder Rick. We get broken Rick from season 7. We get some amazing scenes, and this is just my personal opinion, so please tell me down below. Do you agree with me? Disagree? What are your top 10 picks for 2024? Who are your favourite characters from this year? I'd like to know all your thoughts down below. So goodbye, peace out, and thank you for watching.